Our next panel will be a discussion between Rheinmetall and Auterion. So please, I'd like to welcome to the stage Ms. Leslie Hitchcock from Resilience Media, who will be moderating, Mr. Klaus Klappen, who is the Chief Technology Officer for Rheinmetall, and Mr. Lorenz Meier, the CEO for Auterion. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, let's jump right in. I am sitting here with two battle-tested, battle-hardened companies. One is an established European powerhouse. The other is a startup building software-defined warfare. Tell us about your partnership.
So we knew Rheinmetall for a number of years and now built, end of last year, really exciting partnership where we're working together to help standardize military software. Because what we're now seeing are drones that are flown by pilots individually into targets, and that's huge progress and super disruptive. But what we will see in the future are dozens and hundreds of drones in coordinated strikes. And the best way to look at this problem is imagine NATO having to fight together without English, without a common language. That's impossible. There's a NATO language school. We need the same thing for autonomous systems. And it's really great to see an established player like Rheinmetall realizing that that's necessary and leaning forward to help bring different vendors, but also NATO together.
Lorenz, I couldn't describe it better than you. So I don't think I have to talk anything about Rheinmetall. So we are a big player in the defense and security business, and we're really growing fast. Yeah? Growing with our customer because the need is there. The need is there. But we deliver systems, platforms, vehicles, system of systems, and that is a really important thing. It's not only the platform, it's not only the soldier system, it's the interoperability to getting the soldier, our final customer, common operational picture to shorten the sensor-to-shooter loop and all these things. So to make for a customer it happen that all these various technologies and systems on the battlefield really are interoperable, that is a big challenge. And I think that we are one of the big players, not only for Germany, but we also work together quite good in the European Union and for NATO contracts to say how we can assure interoperability. Multi-domain operations, multi-domain operation cloud technology. And this has to become with standards. Otherwise, come in the situation like Lorenz talked, hundreds of different drones, hundreds of different unmanned systems, hundreds of different C2 systems which are not able to work together. So therefore, it's not only for interconnecting the platform. We've seen a lot of drones in the Ukraine right now. We will see in the future much more unmanned systems on the ground or on the sea and all these things, and they have to work interoperable in a common cooperation, common command and control system, a C4I system, and therefore standards is really, really important. And our cooperation with Auterion, with Lorenz's team, I think that is a really, really good way to, for the future, set a standard to connect new features, new capabilities for the soldier in the overall system of system approach.
So Lorenz, when you and I were chatting about this panel, we talked about not going into the interoperability conversation, but we've just broached it. So let's dive in a little bit. I feel like this audience can handle a bit of tech. And then we'll raise back up and talk more about the partnership. So the defense industry is so fragmented, and procurement policies, we just heard a lot about that, how we need to unify them. Proprietary systems are a problem. So with your joint focus on open standards, how do you see Auterion and Rheinmetall shaping a more interoperable future for NATO and allied forces?
So we've been working with DAU for the past 7 years, creating interoperability with systems. And what's really important to make that a little bit more tangible is it's not that you can connect one drone to your battle network and you can do that across different vendors. What we're talking about is installing software on drones, treating them as autonomous computers, and getting joint behavior. Like an enemy air suppression mission where you fly with drones that jam, drones with warheads, and really a coordinated strike in the hundreds. That is where we're going, and for that to happen, you have to have the ability to have a common software infrastructure. Like we have this in computers, it's called Windows. We have this in smartphones, it's called Android across different vendors. Of course, there's always a counterexample with Apple. That's fine too, in certain niches. That is where this industry needs to go to reach real scale. And also, connecting this back to manufacturing, to get to a good manufacturing base. Because, of course, every nation has their favorite player, every continent has their favorite players. If we don't find a way to connect our manufacturing bases and leverage also the commercial elements from them, we will not reach mass. And deterrence of our near-peer adversaries is all about building autonomous mass.
So that is the point of the partnership, right? So we're going to be connecting hardware and software in a really, really impactful way. So for Rheinmetall, tanks and ground warfare doctrine have been evolving with the rise of these, insurgent drones and precision strike capabilities. How do you see the role of tanks, shall we say, changing in a world where we have these unmanned and manned capabilities teaming and autonomous targeting becoming the norm?
Oh, that's a difficult question. No, I think that tanks were there 10 years ago. Nobody was thinking about tanks. Nobody was thinking about air defense and all the other things. In the end, it will be, as in the past and as today we've seen in Ukraine and other conflicts, it will be a mix of different systems, from a tank, from air defense, from drones and other things, from manned and unmanned system working together, really working together as a manned-unmanned teaming. And in Germany we say Gefecht der verbundenen Waffen. So you need all these different capabilities on the battlefield to defeat an aggressor, to hold areas, and we need forces on the ground. And so in the end, we will see always a mix of manned, unmanned system, from main battle tank to smaller and larger unmanned systems flying around the ground. And let me ask one additional sentence to what Lorenz has said about the manufacturing baseline and what was discussion before in this group. We really need a manufacturing baseline, and not only in Germany. We need it all over Europe, all in our partner nation. And I think that's something that at Rheinmetall we have proven that we do this. We do this in Australia. We started in the US business. We do this in Italy now. We do this in Hungary, and we do it also in the Ukraine. Partner with manufacturing baseline in the countries, so that we can scale, come up with mass production in the end. And maybe not all of you know that Rheinmetall isn't only a defense company. We're still a tier one supplier for the automobile industry. We know how mass production is working. So that is something we now is our benefit, because we know how manufacturing works in automotive and mass production and scale this to the defense. And this is something that I think we can do with Auterion and other partners in the future much more.
So we were really excited to really highlight and announce our partnership and how we're building a partnership where there will be many different Rheinmetall drone systems. A lot of them are already on the market and announced. More will be coming, and all of them will run Auterion software, and with that create interoperability. But what I actually want to highlight about the manufacturing bases, and this is also going to be a little bit of a pointed comment towards the financial and venture industry. Everybody talks about defense, everybody talks about the importance, but then when it comes to the dollars or euros, they're not moving. And it's really hard as a business to do that. And where I have to commend Rheinmetall and their CEO is, Rheinmetall took a risk and did lean forward without contracts, without anything. And of course, the company has some critical mass, so it can approach the financial markets differently. But what they did consistently, and that really impressed us and drew us in towards a partnership, is they have built manufacturing capacity over multiple different things, tanks, munitions, everything, at risk. And just basically said, we're going to do it. You're not giving us a contract. We're still going to do it because it will come. And that courage is, I've not seen that another time. Not in the US, our home market, not in Europe. No other company. And I think it's starting to pay off. There was just an announcement in Italy about a huge order for a new Rheinmetall tank. But that courage needs to be there. And I will give the word to you, but we have to talk about the financial markets and also the venture industry, because I see that up close, and that is, there is no courage at all.
Yeah, thank you for that. I couldn't have said that better than you. So, no, absolutely, you have to be courage. Yeah? We have to enforce our manufacturing base. We have to take risk. Yeah? Otherwise, we are too slow. Yeah? And we were talking about contracts. Okay, in the end, everybody needs contracts, but sometimes you have to go the first step. Yeah? And as an example, we're building lots of ammunition plants right now, and within 12 months. 12 months from the groundbreaking, yeah, up to the first ammunition coming out of the facility. Yeah? So not only in Germany, in other countries too, and therefore, yeah, you have to take risk. You have to be encouraged. Otherwise, we cannot support the security in Europe.
So let's talk about that for a second. So Rheinmetall is operated in a very different fashion than, say, other defense contractors or primes or manufacturers, where you've been on a buying spree lately and done a lot of acquisition. Can you talk to us about what that looked like and what the strategy is for folding those companies into Rheinmetall and how they're being run?
Yeah, I think we're doing a lot of different things. So maybe the last thing we have done, a big acquisition in the US, was lock performance, because we need a manufacturing base in the US. Otherwise, we cannot support the big programs. But we are in a competition right now, maybe for the XM30 tank and all the things. So this will be the deep integration, because we need all this technology in other programs too. So on the other side, we had a big M&A in Spain last year with Expal ammunition, so deep integration. But on the other side, we are looking for cooperations where maybe in Italy, it's a joint venture with Leonardo, where on the same basis, 50-50, we in the future will produce not only the main battle tanks for Italy, but also the infantry fighting vehicle. Yeah? And this goes down to working together with SMEs, working together with startups. Even in my team, we invest in startups. I have 2 corporate startups also. So it's a whole band, and of course it's a big challenge. In the phase of growing, in the next let me say 3 or 4 years, we will double our revenue. That's a big challenge. Our order books are fully booked, and so therefore, of course, a real challenge, but it works quite well right now. It works quite well because it's always trust within the partners, trust with new partners on the block where we will work together, and I think that's really important, otherwise it will not work. Trust and courage.
And Lorenz, flipping it a little bit, why did Auterion want to work with Rheinmetall? I'm sure you had other conversations with other potential partners.
I think what really impressed us about Rheinmetall were 2 things. One is what I mentioned earlier, the willingness to courageously invest and go in risk, whereas other defense primes are lamenting that the contract is not there. By the way, for the right reasons. There's no reason governments cannot provide multi-year framework contracts. Those are all excuses. I want to see governments take risk, because that's what you should do. The other part is, unless many other established firms, I think, partially through some of the acquisitions, Rheinmetall really impressed us by bringing in a lot of fresh blood. For example, the chief digital officer of Rheinmetall is actually the former CEO of an acquisition. And that changes completely how our experience is working with the company. Really risk-taking, forward-leaning, willing to question itself, willing to question the old ways of doing things. And that also shows that a prime, where every other prime is trying to lock their arms around the market they have, Rheinmetall is saying, no, we'll open up because that is what the customer wants, and we're long-term greedy because we're winning market share if the customer trusts us rather than trying to lock up the system in the last proprietary corner. And those two things, that courage and that proven, and I can tell you after having integrated and shown systems on proving grounds, that in internal DNA is completely different. And I think it can be replicated across the industry. Again, it just takes courage to shake up your own organization.
So if the demand for drone autonomy is growing globally, so let's look at the future of warfare and the future of Rheinmetall and Auterion. You've also worked with quite a lot of Ukrainian startups in your time there who struggle with international expansion. With using this as a blueprint, perhaps, what type of advice would you give to other startups who are looking to build these types of partnerships?
I mean, I can make our secret plan a little bit more public. So we have established partnerships like with Rheinmetall. We have a lot of friends in Ukraine that built incredible technology at incredible pace that's combat proven, that have no clear path to the Western markets. If you bring that together, and Rheinmetall is running our software, they're running our software, suddenly you create a go-to-market path that has trust, manufacturing base, speed, reliability, because there's always the question, like for any Ukrainian or let it be Taiwanese company, the question is always, will they be around? Is there market access? What will happen? And so I love to be the honest broker in these relationships and bring industry together, because that way the market access for these Ukrainian innovators is realistic and secure and possible.
So considering some of the announcements that have been made concerning the security of Ukraine and Europe, let's look ahead 5 years, considering there's a lot of uncertainty now. What does success look like for your partnership?
Can you repeat? What is?
What does success look like for the Auterion and Rheinmetall partnership if you're 5 years from now?
Oh, 5 years from now, that's a good question. 5 years from now, I hope that the war in the Ukraine is over for 5 years or something like that. So, because that's a very important thing for the people in the soldiers in the Ukraine and in Europe. So peace in Europe. On the other side, I think we know that there's a lot of things to do, because all our partners, all our nations, all the armies, lack of systems, ammunition, weapon systems, and of course of unmanned systems to prepare for future conflicts, or to make sure that the future conflicts will not issue. And therefore, we have to speed up with the development of unmanned systems, flying on the ground, in all kinds of systems on the sea, because we have to get, for future conflicts, the soldiers out of the vehicles, out of the dangerous areas, the dirty, dull, and risky jobs. In the future can do unmanned system, but always operated, supervised by men. So man-unmanned teaming will be a really, really important thing and a real challenge. Everybody's talking about AI. AI is a big word, and you can automize and maybe in some features, in some capabilities come up with autonomous systems, but therefore we need not what we need. I see the partnership with Auterion as a basis, as Lorenz said, for a basis where we can integrate future capabilities, future apps for autonomous features, autonomous function, integrated in an overall manned, unmanned future army. And therefore, I think a strong belief that in this partnership we have a great future.
And for you, Lorenz?
I'll make it really short. 1 million drones that are ready to go at moment's notice and provide credible deterrence in Europe's east.
And where are those drones going to be produced?
Well, we have a very strong manufacturing partner.
In many nations all over Europe and the Western world.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much, both of you, for joining us and telling us all about your partnership and announcing it here. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.